Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hosts Melanie Johnson and Jen Foster are the owners of Elite Online Publishing. They're both Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling authors. We're really glad you're here because this podcast was designed for you. Meet industry experts that share their secrets and strategies. Get successful results for your business in money, relationships, health, and your life. Each episode is going to inspire you to take action towards reaching your greatness.
Hi, everyone. It's Melanie Johnson. Thanks for joining us today for another great podcast. I've got Jen Foster, the co-owner of Elite Online Publishing, my business partner. Hey, Jen, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a wonderful day today.
It's always a wonderful day when we have our podcast. We're here to inspire you, motivate you, and educate you on things. And today we're going to focus more on sales and a thing called CRM. And if you don't know what a CRM is, it can really help your business and keep you organized. And we have the co-founder of Salesflare with us today, Jeroen Corthout. No, I said it wrong again. Say it for me, Jeroen.
Corthout.
Corthout. See, I was going to get it. Anyways, we're going to go deep into sales, how to organize your sales, how to keep track of your sales, and who knows where we're going to end up, where our conversations take us to a variety of different places. So let's get started. Thanks for coming today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Tell us, Jeroen, how you got started in this and how you became the co-founder of Salesflare.
Could be a long story, but I'll keep it short. Basically, I was working in another software company and we went to a conference and we had a lot of leads. And those were not leads that we're going to buy right away. We had to do some follow-up. And I think there were like 100 something leads, 110 or so. So it was quite a lot of people to keep track of, relatively long follow-up. And we had to organize ourselves well. And we tried different CRM systems, like customer relationship management systems. And there's a lot out there. I think at the moment, like 800 or so. Back then, 200, 300. And we found none that really helped us follow up. That's what they all said they would do. But we basically, maybe we failed. We didn't manage to use the systems correctly. And that was probably mainly because the systems came with a lot of work, very high expectations on the amount of data input we would do. Basically, if we wanted to follow up, we had to fill the system out diligently. Every single thing we did, we had to put in there. Every little piece of data we found, everything had to be in there. And if we did that, it would work. But we didn't have that amount of discipline and it didn't work. So we started dreaming about a system that actually basically would take over that work for us, that would automate all that little data aggregation, get it from all the different places where the data already was, because your emails are in your inbox and there's email signatures in that. There's people you're in touch with. There's stuff in your calendar, there's things in your phone, there's things in social media, things in company database and email tracking, you name it. We dreamt of a system that would unite that all and just make it work for you so you can base yourself on it to follow up. And that was the start of Salesflare. It has grown from there, but that was our spark, let's say.
Wow. So tell people, so a CRM, really tell exactly what a CRM is and why we need to have one for our company or anybody's company to make your life easier and how it grows sales by having it.
Yeah, so very conceptually, a CRM is about customer relationship management, so managing customer relationships. What that means for your business depends on what sort of business you're. We were in B2B sales, selling software. If you're in B2B sales, it's mostly about following up leads in a better way, keeping track very well. If you have an e-commerce business, it means something totally different. It's usually about keeping track of what people bought and where they got stuck in the sales process and trying to create repeat sales and make sure they empty out their shopping cart and stuff like that. If you're in real estate, it's really about something else yet again. It's about connecting people to properties. So depending on the business you're in, it's a different thing. We focus on B2B sales. And there it's really about that follow-up, making sure that you remember very well what you've discussed with whom at what time, when you need to follow up, what the next step is in the process so that you can guide them all the way from them like having their issue to you solving it for them and getting paid. That's what's it all about for us.
Awesome. And I've been right where you were talking about before, where you think you've got a really good CRM and then you realize you have thousands of hours to put into it, to put all the data into it. And then you still got to create the emails and it's a lot of work. So I love that you have an automated system. Tell us how you can make sales or how it can keep track of your sales.
Yeah, so it plugs into your, very centrally is the mailbox. Like the number one, let's say, channel our customers use to communicate with their customers is email. The second one is LinkedIn, and the third is phone. That's, I think, pretty representative of B2B businesses nowadays. And our system plugs into these different systems and makes sure that everything is tracked. And there's a really, because these systems are, it's all digital nowadays, there's so much information in there. For instance, in emails, if we email with each other, then in the email header, there's your name, Jen. There's your email address. If you send me an email with a signature, there's maybe your phone number, your position. Also, our system can go out, find your LinkedIn profile because it knows your name and where you work. So it can find your LinkedIn profile, add that as well. It can, obviously the emails are in there. And if I email you back, there's going to be tracking in it. So I see when you open, when you click on things. And that is linked to tracking on the website. So I see what stuff you're clicking on. So I add meetings to that, add calls to that, and a bunch of other things. The whole process, all of the interactions you're having, which define the relationship in the end, it's all tracked for you. And then the system also actively helps you to follow up in a better way because it knows all these things. Where normally the bottleneck, the information is not in the CRM, the information is now in the CRM. And then a lot of other things are possible. When you have data, you can do like amazing stuff with it.
Yeah. What do you think the top sales skills are for someone to have? You're starting out in the business, or even if you've been in it a long time, sometimes you feel like you're not able to convert those people to close them. What do you think are the top skills that people can learn to not just get the people, but close them and convert them into a yes?
I would say definitely, I don't know whether the right word is empathy, but the ability to put yourself in the other person's shoes and really trying to do that also. When you talk to someone, don't start immediately demoing your solution. Don't run them through a slide deck about your company or so. Just sit down with them, try to listen. What is their issue? Why do they want to solve it? Why is it not solved yet? There's a whole context to explore each time you talk to a customer. There's a whole story. And if you know that story very well, then you also are in the best place to basically take them on a journey to solving it. I think that is probably the most important skill as a salesperson. It's not really in these closing skills or so. Proper organization is probably the next thing. Being able to then not just like sometimes salespeople come in and they are these people that really make you open up and make you tell your story and everything seems great and they're going to solve it. And then they disappear. Also, don't be that person. That's probably skill number 2. Know when to follow up. Organize yourself so that you follow up at the right times, so that you don't forget about customers, that you don't disappoint them. I think if you get these 2 things together, that's already a big part of what it takes to be successful. And that's what often, for instance, people who are not in sales or they don't consider themselves salespeople, often more technical people, they are afraid of sales because they think sales is all about saying the right words and about being super convincing. And just like they see an extrovert person and they're like, oh my God, I'm not that person. I will never be able to sell. But I don't believe that's really how sales works. It's really more about listening than it is about talking, let's say, and delivering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I keep seeing this word all over the place and me not knowing what it means, I had to Google it. So let's talk about what SaaS sales is, SaaS, because I keep seeing that everywhere and people talk about it. And I've seen it on billboards because here in Utah, we have, they call it Silicon Slopes because there's a lot of tech companies here. And so I see SaaS all over the place, but I don't know what it is. So can you explain a little bit what that means?
Yeah. So to understand SaaS, I think if you say to a youngster nowadays, SaaS, they don't understand software as a service. Sure, you get a subscription on an app. What's special about that? You need to go a bit back in time to when software didn't work like that. Let's say 20 years ago. Well, we don't have to go that far, but people would basically before that, you needed software. You would get a company to build it for you. And you would pay that company for building software. Then some companies starting building products. They said, we're not going to build the same thing or variations of the same thing for different companies, we're going to make one product and we're going to sell that to multiple people. And they basically had this sort of product that often they would still deliver some services around, and they would install it here, install it there, and they would get paid for that. Often it was like a big fee and then a maintenance fee afterwards. And then at some point, when the internet came along, there was this opportunity to actually not install that software in different places anymore, but to install it on a central server and say, the software is here, you can access it there, you can pay for it on a monthly or yearly basis. There's no big fee upfront and then small ones afterwards. It's always the same price. And it's basically delivered to you as a service, software as a service. That's what SaaS stands for. And that's, I think, the main way software is consumed nowadays. It's mainly in your browser. Usually SaaS software is in your browser. It's centrally administered. You pay for it on a subscription, which includes most things, including support and everything mostly. And in most cases, you cancel whenever you want.
Yeah.
Not always. There's companies that deviate from that, but
that makes sense, because like back in the day, you would get Adobe or Microsoft Word and you just pay one time and you'd have it on multiple computers. But now it's a subscription service. You pay monthly or you pay yearly, and you get service and support.
That is a good example. Actually, Adobe still has this kind of software that you install on your computer. They try to move into a SaaS model, but it's not really SaaS in the sense that they sell you a subscription now, Adobe something, on a monthly basis. But now, I think last week, they bought Figma. And Figma was this really big competitor of theirs. They bought it for tens of billions. It was one of the biggest tech acquisitions ever. And that was because they actually were competing with them with a pure SaaS model. And it was eating away on Adobe's business. So they just had to buy it because Adobe itself could not really make that step.
Makes sense.
Wow. So let's jump back to the CRM thing. I remember when I very first started, it was before I was even in business with Jen, someone recommended Salesforce to me, and it was so cumbersome and so overwhelming. I looked at it and I go, this is made for some giant corporation. This is not for a solopreneur at the time doing this. And I was just so frustrated. And you're paying for just a startup business. It wasn't cheap either. And then we've tried different things. We have Insightly and we're moving into something else. But what should someone do to wade through and figure out what is the best CRM for them? Like you said, every company, real estate agents, e-commerce is all different. And Salesflare, does it gear towards one particular type of industry? But what should people be looking for to have the most easy to use? Because most of our audience, I would say, are entrepreneurs, small business owners. What's the easiest to use and why? What things should we be looking for?
Yeah. So again, question number one is what type of business are you in? And then question number two is probably what sort of problem are you trying to solve? Is this for sales follow-up? Is this for sending out email newsletters? Sometimes people think that's also CRM. MailChimp calls itself a CRM also nowadays. So figuring that out is the first step before you type best CRM or so into Google. And then to find out which is the easiest to use, I think probably the ranking of G2.com in that sense is the best I've seen. I don't think there's actually any other rankings on ease of use, at least not that are reliable. But really figure out first what it is you need, then do some Googling around and see which ones of the CRMs seem to solve for your issue. If you want, we have a blog post. If you type CRM examples, Salesflare into Google, you'll find one that goes through different use cases and recommends some CRMs there. And then maybe try it out with your team. Actually, for sure, try it out with your team. Make sure that they like using it, because if they don't feel good about it, then it's probably not a good idea to get it. You'll be paying for a CRM that goes unused. If you actually try it out with them, that means one, they think they'll use it. And second, you also have their buy-in because you've done it with them. You didn't impose the system. And also set it up as a team. Discuss how you're going to use it. Make sure that you're aligned on what fields to fill out and how to fill them out, and how your sales process, what your sales process looks like, and when you're going to put an opportunity in this stage or in that stage or so of the pipeline. Have these discussions, and I think that should set you up for more success than most companies.
I like that, because if you don't have a plan of your processes and sales, then it's hard to use the CRM, right? So you got to have your processes, sales, and
This doesn't have to be a huge discussion, but there needs to be some discussion. You need to plan things together, look at things together. A lot of businesses skip that step because they're like, oh, it's going to evolve too much, but it sets you up for failure if you don't.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I need a designated person that just does the CRM, that's doing all that data entry, depending how many new clients you're getting on a regular basis and you want to communicate with them. It's almost like, because if you're a solopreneur or you have 2 or 3 people, it's still someone's got to be assigned to that. That's that organization thing of getting the process within the process of the CRM. And I love that yours gathers information, like usually you're having to do in a CRM, what's their LinkedIn profile link, what's their social media link, and having to put it in there. It sounds like yours searches the internet and pulls that in and puts it right in their profile.
Yeah, if you're hiring someone to take care of CRM instead of the CRM doing it for you, then you should probably have a look at ours. Yeah.
You should have a different CRM. I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That's a very good point.
Tell us, Jeroen, where people can go to find more information.
If you want to find out more about Salesflare, that's just salesflare.com. And Flare is Flare. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on LinkedIn. You'll see my name typed somewhere. Just type that thing into LinkedIn. I'm the only person with that name, so you can't miss. And then send me a connection request, but with a personal message. I get a lot of LinkedIn spam still every day. So without personal message, I'll just assume it's spam. But with one, then I'll get in touch with you and we can have a chat.
That sounds good. We can't wait till we have software that will delete all of our spam on LinkedIn.
Yeah. LinkedIn is doing a really good job lately, though. I think they're really cracking down on the spam.
Yeah, they're trying to crack down. So like the automation people have been using, like to send automated messages and do so many per day, they're cracking down on that. They're saying, hey, we've discovered that you're using automation, so your account's now frozen. You're like banned from LinkedIn unless you agree not to use that. So they are trying to crack down on some of that automated. But I remember LinkedIn was really like a great place to make connections because it was authentic and they were real messages. You didn't have all this stuff going on. And now it's just, I would say 80% of my stuff is just spammy stuff.
Yeah. It becomes like your mailbox, basically.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give a little hack here because we did this to our thing. We went in our email because we're getting so much junk email mixed in with our regular email. So I learned the fact that you search in the search bar, unsubscribe. So you do unsubscribe, it pulls up all of these emails, and then you make a filter for it and put it into a folder. So they all go into the folder. So this worked great for me for 2 weeks. And then I don't know what people are doing with their email. Some of these same people are like getting through the barrier, and I'm getting like all new junk mail now in there. I'm like, so there was about a week and a half. I was like, wow, I went from 200 when I opened my inbox to 40, and they're all the ones I want to see, to now it's like they're getting through the cracks again and getting through my barrier. I feel like I have to redo the search again, but it worked really well for a while. I think maybe you just have to do it multiple times because not all your junk comes in at the same time. But
maybe you can improve your filter. Yeah, actually, if you're using Google Workspace / Gmail, you can also turn on the tab so that you have a priority tab, and then it puts the ones with the unsubscribe and stuff, puts it in promotions. It sorts it for you.
Nice.
Ooh, that's a good tip too. I like that. I haven't heard of that one. See, we give you all kinds of great information here. Thanks for coming. We really appreciate it. And make sure you reach out to Salesflare, check them out. And if you're looking to become an author, repurpose your content, you become a business, have a business book that works for your business, contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Fill out that subscription or subscribe button, and we guarantee you'll become a #1 best-selling author when you work with us. Thanks. Check us out. Talk to you next time.
Have a great day.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.